everybody. So today let's talk about some mutes. I've got a brand new one in the mail, and this one is from Dario. It's called Spector, and it looked pretty sharp. That's why I thought I should try it out, and it was $10. And also on the packaging they give you instruction on and off, which I found kind of hilarious. So first of all, what is a mute? So a mute is a little device you can put on your violin to change the tone, to actually make it softer and more quiet. It's called concertino, and you can see this in many compositions when the composer wants to change the color. So the first kind of mute you might have gotten is, of course, the wooden one, right? Which is something like this, and it's made out of wood. They're really nice, they're really light, but you have to put them somewhere, and you have to pick them up, and then you put them on your violin, right? You stick them to your bridge. That's where the sound is going to be dampened. And then you have a very big, ugly thing, or whatever, on your bridge, which you might be afraid it falls down when you play and things like that. So, but it does the job. This is a great mute, but it's it's not really practical for orchestral jobs. So this is my carbon, by the way, and this is how it sounds without the mute. And something rattles. Of course, that's the other mute. We talk about that in a minute. So now I put this one on. So you can tell it dampens the tone. It's already nicer. But again, this is maybe for home. You can put it on, forget about it, practice. But if you're out there on the field, playing gigs, and if you take it off and on and off constantly, this is just a hassle. I don't like him. A lot of people don't like him for that. Next in line, then, of course, people invented mutes that were sitting on the violin, like this one. This is the Tourte. And the Tourte sits between two strings and slides forth and back. And you just put it over the bridge, right? Here you go. And they're good. I like them. They're very light. And they also sound decent. Not as deep as the wooden one, right? Slightly different damping, because there's only one section the rubber touches, which is now the middle. You can move them also to the other lower strings or to the higher strings and play around with that, but it's up to your taste. The only problem is when you remove them and you let them slide back, sometimes they hang here, and if you play, they might rattle or something, right? So you have to park them really in the back and press them down a little bit so they hold, right? So it's okay. They work fine, and they're really cheap, right? It's a couple bucks. So the Tourte, they're called Tourte. I like them. I buy like 5 or 6, and I lose them constantly, but I think they're great for travel also. The big ones, just to address it quickly, if you travel and tour and you want to practice after arrival late night in a hotel in a foreign land, you might want to use one of those big guys, right? You've seen those. This is maybe the oldest one. This is the metal version, which is of course the best mute ever, but it's really heavy. It adds weight. And once it sits, it's pretty sturdy, but try not to shake it, because if it falls down, it can actually crack your violin or damage the lacquer, right? So you have to be super careful. But as you can see, it's like a heavy building on your bridge, and it's the most muting you can get out of it. So you can practice in your hotel room. No one ever is going to hear and complain about this, which is great. Again, traveling and practicing at any hour of the night. Now soon they develop something else, which is a little easier. It's the same version, but in a rubber disguise. It's way lighter. Of course, it doesn't have that super tight grip around the violin, but it also sits, it snugs around the bridge. Here we go. And if you drop it, it won't hurt your violin, right? Because it's rubber. But sonically, it's like in between. So it's a little louder, and it sits between maybe the Tourte, mute, and and any other rubber mutes that are smaller, right? So now I want to check out this brand new Spector by Dario and see how that one sounds on this violin. So here we go. Let's check it out. They put it in a nice box. Look at that. You pull it out. Here it is. And anything else in there? No $1 million, no. But you got a code, and you can get part of the player circle, right? So the Dario, the more you buy, you get points, and then you can get a string or something else. So collect those codes, right? And use them. Okay, here's the mute. Yep, fell out. Now this one is different. See, it is just flat, and it sits between the strings. So we're gonna mount it, and it's like a little spaceship. Here we go. Star Trek, right? Bzzz. So okay, I can see it's kind of neat, and it sits really tight. So it takes a little time to get it down. So no, you can't do any super fast movements. But if you have a couple bars rest in the orchestra, you can just grab it here, and 1, 2, 3, 3 seconds later, you've got it on, right? Okay, let me see how this sounds. Okay, it doesn't really mute that much. Yeah, it's snug against my bridge, but it's actually louder than I thought. A little more on the G string. Yeah, I mean it does a job. But again, maybe not enough for orchestra playing. Let me try the Tourte again, just in comparison, because that one grabs the front and the back. So the Tourte seems to be a little more even. Alright, so let's get rid of the Tourte and spaceship back to the bridge. So this might be good if you just want a tiny bit, if you have a very bright violin and maybe you want to just reduce a little bit, you can put it there, but otherwise it's not that effective. Looks cool. It's not bad, but I'm a little underwhelmed. It looks cool. I like the way it sits there. It's protected. But I think the Tourte, the tiny Tourte for like $2 or something like that, still, you know, beats this guy. But you know what? You can try it out yourself. And it also depends on the violin. And again, this is a carbon, which is usually bright and louder. But I might try it on the other violin and add this to this video at the end. Okay, so this is one of my acoustic standard regular violins, and this is how it sounds without a mute on. Alright, and now we're going to use that Spector mute. Okay, contact. So a little bit, not too much. So it's decent, but I think the Tourte does a better job than this. But great design, no matter what. Thanks for watching.